Welcome to Girl Choose Yourself, where we're trading self-doubt for self-trust and settling for soaring. I'm Emer Zone, your host, and together we're building the confidence to create lives so deliciously bold that they scare us a little, but in the best possible way. Because life's too precious to stay cozy in our comfort zones. It's time to choose ourselves for lives that are fabulous and soulfully fulfilling. So let's go. I want to tell you about a book that I've had on my shelf for years. The book is Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul. You may have heard of it, you may have read it. It was a New York Times bestseller, more than 1 million copies sold. And I bought it at a time when I was, I guess, in that period of searching, and I'm not sure exactly what I was looking for, maybe a way of understanding why I kept feeling the way I was feeling, despite, I guess, doing the things I thought I should be doing and maybe looking from the outside like I had my shit together. But there's a story in this book, The Untethered Soul, and it gave me really one of the biggest kind of realization, aha moments of my life. And it has always stayed with me. And I've been sitting with it again this week, and I really can't stop thinking about it. And when something won't leave you alone, it usually means like it belongs here. It belongs here with you. So today I want to tell you that story because I think it may also be very valuable to you. So it's going to sound a little bit absurd, I guess, at first, but stay with me because it's powerful. So imagine that you have a thorn embedded in your arm and it like goes right into touching a nerve under your skin. And if anything brushes against that thorn, you know, whether it was a sleeve or a door frame or a piece of fabric or someone passing too close, you know, the pain is just immediate and sharp and so unpleasant. So you just learn that you need to be careful. And you start to organize your day around the thorn. You wear certain clothes that won't touch it. You walk a certain way. You're careful about where and how you sit, who you stand near, which part of the room you occupy. And for a while that kind of works, right? But then you want to go for a walk in the woods and the branches keep catching your arm. So you go out early before anyone else and you trim all the branches back, you clear a path, the problem solved, right? No more problem when you want to go out and walk in the woods. Except then you can't sleep. You're afraid of rolling over and catching the thorn on the mattress and then it triggering that nerve pain. So you get really clever and you build yourself a contraption, a protective frame around your arm. It takes some engineering, but you work on it, you figure it out. So now you can go to sleep and not worry about, you put on the contraption, you don't have to worry about that thorn. Now you want a relationship with someone. You want to be close to someone. But the contraption is a problem. So you build a bigger one, a different one, something more sophisticated, something that has hydraulics. It has wheels, but now you can't get through your own front door. So you have to widen the doors and then you modify the car and you start planning every event around the logistics of the contraption that you've built so that you can conduct your life in the way that you want to conduct it without brushing against this thorn and experiencing this pain. Your diary is full, not of things that you necessarily want to do, but of things you need to manage so the thorn doesn't get brushed. And this is the thing that Singer says that I want you to really sit with. The thorn hasn't moved. Everything else, like the trimmed branches, the contraption, the modified environment, you know, the widened doors, the exhausting logistics of your entire life, is just you trying not to feel the thorn that's there. When I first read this, it had quite an impact on me. I put the book down because I recognized myself quite clearly, and it was quite uncomfortable realizing, I've spent time, like maybe years, maybe so much time, becoming really skilled at managing my environment, like managing people, managing situations, managing interactions and my reactions. And I thought that meant that I was sort of mastering my life, that I was very capable and organized, responsible even, like really self-aware. I know what's happening here. I know how to manage this situation. But Singer calls it something else. He calls it the pain that's running your life. There was this line, and it was like, if you're doing something to avoid pain, then pain is running your life. And just let that sit for a moment, like not the pain itself, the avoidance, like the trimming of the branches, the widening of the doors. Perhaps that elegant, exhausting system that we build to make sure that the thorn never gets touched, never triggers the pain. Because here's what Singer says happens inside while all the external management is going on. He says, as long as you can't handle pain, you will react by closing in order to protect yourself. Once you close, your mind will build an entire psychological structure around your closed energy. Your thoughts will try to rationalize why you are right, why the other person is wrong, and what you should do about it. That particular quote there, when I had picked up this book again in the last week or so, I had written beside that quote, "This is me," which was very uncomfortable at the time. This was my oof moment. How familiar does that feel, if at all, for you? I don't think it's a weakness. I think it's really the mind doing exactly what a mind does when it's been given an impossible job. And what is the impossible job? Singer says at some point we gave our mind an impossible job. And we said, I want everyone to like me. I don't want anyone to speak badly of me. I want everything I say and do to be acceptable and pleasing to everyone. I don't want anyone to hurt me. I don't want anything to happen that I don't like, and I want everything to happen that I do like. And now mind, go figure out how to make every one of these things a reality, even if you have to think about it all day and all night. And of course, our mind said, I'm on it, got it, I will work on this constantly. Can you sense the weight of that? We wonder why we feel exhausted, why the anxiety won't stop, why even on the good days, there's something sort of unresolved, humming underneath, humming in the background. Singer says, our psyche is communicating through its universal language. Fear, self-consciousness, jealousy, insecurity, anxiety, they're all fear. And they are all the sound of a mind working overtime on a job it was never qualified to do. Our minds have very little control over the world. We cannot control the weather. Our mind cannot control other people, cannot control what happens to us. And we have given our minds this impossible task. Manipulate the world so that we can feel better inside. And our minds have been trying faithfully, desperately, with this impossible task ever since. And then Singer says this that I think is one of the most clarifying things that I've ever read about, our crazy minds torturing us. He says, your mind is not qualified for that job. Fire it. Fire it. Relieve your mind of the responsibility of making sure that everyone and everything will be the way that you need them to be so that you can feel okay inside. That is not a job any mind can do. And it has broken the mind drying. Oh, we suffer. Oh, we suffer. So what do we do instead when we see this, the impossible task? I guess we stop asking the thorn not to hurt. We stop trimming branches. We stop building the protective contraptions. Instead, we turn towards those thorns and we ask, what is this really? What am I actually afraid of feeling? Singer says, awareness does not fight. Awareness releases. Awareness is simply aware, while everything in the universe parades before it. Not fixing, not managing, not building a better contraption, just turning towards instead of away. This is really the whole of mindfulness practice. This is what I mean when I talk about coming home to yourself. Not that polished, capable, has it all together self, but the self that is aware, the self that is willing to feel and release and let go. The thorn, when you finally turn towards it, is almost never as unbearable as the life you built to avoid feeling it. And the mind, that exhausted, overworked, frightened mind that has been on duty since we were so small, gets to rest. So I want to leave you with just one question, not a homework assignment or a 5-step plan, but just a simple question. What is a thorn that you've been building your life around? The thorn itself, the original thing, the hurt underneath all the architecture. You don't have to fix it today. You don't have to do anything with it. Just let yourself know what it is. And that in itself is an act of extraordinary courage, turning towards, opening up to. I think that's a profound practice of choosing yourself. And I think it's the path, really the path to ultimate freedom. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning into the episode this week. I hope you got a lot out of it, and if you did, please share it with somebody who you feel would benefit. And leave a review. Always greatly appreciated. Lots of free and paid resources to take things a step further. You can find those in the show notes. And hey, if nobody's told you this yet today, you are amazing, and the world is a far more beautiful place because you're here with us all. Stay cool. Bye.